Welcome to part 3 of GTA 3. A couple of telephone missions will appear in Hepburn Heights after you complete Luigi's missions. So let's go check it out.
This is El Burro at the Diablos. You are new in Liberty, but already you are gaining a reputation on the streets. There is a street race starting by the old school hall near the Callahan Bridge. Get yourself some wheels, and first through all the checkpoints wins the prize.
Get a fast car and get to the starting grid. The Banshee, the car I just stole in part 1, is really good for this mission. So if you didn't steal that car and park it into your garage, you should probably do so before you start Turismo. Granted, if the car even spawns in. Which it should spawn in about 80% of the time. The game's real good about spawning in cars. Sometimes. Not really, but sometimes. Oh yeah, there she is. I don't know what my favorite sports car in the GTA series is. I think it would have to be... No, I think it's this car actually, the Banshee. It's either that or the Infernus, which is the Lamborghini in real life. Because GTA can't just go around using real car names, but yet they can license actual songs. It's a catch-22. So the starting line is going to be on the strip, and this race can be pretty challenging to a new player if they don't know what they're doing, or they're just not well versed into racing games. You know, if you ever played a Midnight Club game, which is also from Rockstar, those games are actually pretty hard though. It's like, those are not friendly racing games to start out on, so never mind that. Definitely more along the lines of Need for Speed. Definitely not super hard, but if you fuck up too many times, then you're gonna fail the mission. The AI racers don't rubber band, but they are smart enough to avoid crashing whenever they can, so you gotta keep your pace. That's certainly better than Midnight Club, where the AI is literally all-knowing. Oh my god. That is a game series I cannot beat for the life of me. Especially the second game. I freaking owned the second game, and I could never beat it. It becomes virtually impossible to beat the last few races in Japan. It is fucking fucked, is what it is. But enough about Midnight Club 2, that cheap-ass game that I kinda like, but it's unfair and cheap and really bullshit at points. I'm dominating this race right now. Nobody's catching up to me. One thing you gotta keep in mind about cars is the lighter the vehicle, the faster it goes, but it's more susceptible to topple over at high speeds. And there's this, I guess it's a running gag, but they stopped doing this since 4. Every car that you flip over will eventually catch on fire and explode. The gas tank can be perfectly intact and everything, but if you flip that bitch over, it's going to the scrap heap. No questions asked. It's highly unrealistic, but it's fun. I just love scrambling out of burning cars. That sounds really weird out of context. But yeah, they need to keep that in the remasters, the definitive edition. They need to keep the burning cars upon flipping. That's actually supposed to be released in a couple weeks from now, at the time of this recording. I believe it was November 10th or 11th when the definitive editions come out. I'm definitely gonna pick that up to see how it fares against the originals. That guy is slow as fuck. There is another race later on which is a bit more like a scramble deal. The checkpoints are in random locations, you have to get to them first before the opponent does. Congratulations, you won with an incredible time of 141 seconds. Here's $10,000. Plus another 132 for that incredible stunt bonus, which I didn't really do. What was that stunt bonus? I just kinda did a wheelie.
Beautiful. Just beautiful. Alright, just the guy I need to talk to. Alright, there's a car stuffed with a stiff at the cafe near Callahan Point. One of the Forellis thought he was a wise guy, so he got what he had coming to him. Take the corpse to the Crusher in Harwood, alright?
Dead skunk in the trunk. Now this mission can be either really simple or really challenging depending on how you go about it. The main objective of this mission is to get rid of some evidence. I thought I could ram through that fence, but apparently it's made of the world's strongest metal, and not even Superman can break that shit, so I have to go completely around this building in order to get that package. This game is by no means perfect. I will be objective in saying that GTA 3 has some rather bizarre programming issues, like the indestructible fence, or in some cases, some items just won't spawn on the map. There's also the fact that you have to do missions in a certain order if you want 100%. You don't do them in a certain order, and some missions will be locked, and you can't get 100% unless you restart the game. This is mainly due to how the narrative works. Some of Claude's bosses will meet their early demise, either by Claude himself or by other means. Spoiler alert, but this is a 20-year-old game, and this is also a GTA game where shit happens like this all the time in the series. Vice City would change it to where you can do most of the missions in any order you want without locking yourself out of other missions. There are different levels of damage to your car you have to worry about. There's small white smoke, which there's nothing to worry about there, it's mildly banged up. Then you got a mixture of black and white smoke, which is more concerning, and then finally you got big smoke. I can't believe I ran into that one. Black smoke you have to worry about because that will mean your car will explode eventually. And then there's on fucking fire, in which case, get out of the goddamn car. Now. You will die instantly if you're trapped in an exploding car. And what I'm doing here is, you see this sedan right here? That's the enemy. And I'm trying to blow him up by blowing up my car and then just walking out. Damn, I thought the shotgun would instantly blow up the Banshee in one hit. But oh well, on to plan B. And yes, these mob members are part of the Forelli family, who will become more prominent in GTA Vice City. Or at least one major player of the Forelli family. My strategy for this is I take out the Forellis. I don't want these guys to chase me down the road because what I'm about to drive right now is significantly slower than what they're driving. This will give you some breathing room, but beware, there are multiple Forelli cars out there, so you have to get to the junkyard as quickly as you can. There's a dead man in the trunk, presumably a Forelli member. Now, I'm not sure if the police AI is smart enough to pick that up and you'll get a star from it, but whenever I do this, the police don't seem to care. So you don't have to worry about them. Apparently not. I just passed that cop car and he either seemed to A, didn't give a damn, or B, was completely oblivious. There's a similar mission like this in GTA 4, but the cops are more aware in that game, and you actually have to keep the trunk down, making that mission way more interesting, for lack of a better word. Okay, the cops are just shit at their jobs today. Smacked dead on to a police officer right there, and he was like, "Oh wow, you just scratched the paint. Move along now. Move along now." Oh man, this game is weird. Never mind that. Park the car in the blue aura, and mission accomplished. Oh wow, that took a long time to show up. I could have died in that amount of time it took for the mission pass thing to come up. Anyway, next goal.
I started my exotic entertainment business with nothing but the sizable contents of my leather pants. A gang of no-goods has threatened to remove my starring member if I don't pay them a cut. They threatened the wrong man, amigo. They have a weakness for the ice cream. Pick up the bomb I've eaten in Hardwood, hijack the regular ice cream van on its rounds, and lure these fools to their doom with the jingly jingly. They hide in a warehouse on Atlantic Key.
I'll probably never eat ice cream again after this mission. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. Pick up the briefcase in Harwood. Harwood may seem like an irrelevant neighborhood, but that was where Tommy killed 11 people in 1971, and he went to jail for 15 years. But that happened 30 years before this game takes place, so Harwood is just an ordinary neighborhood now. GTA has a rather consistent but strange continuity in that there's actually 3 universes within the series. Starting with the 2D universe of GTA 1 and 2 back on the PlayStation. I don't know too much about this timeline, but in GTA 2, you play as a character named Claude, much like in this game, but it's not the same guy. Here's the ice cream truck. He usually goes down this road. Just casually steal it off of him. Don't worry, I won't do anything suspicious with the ice cream truck. I'm just gonna blow a couple of people up. Park the ice cream van down at Atlantic Keys. Or Quays. I've always pronounced it as Quays, but it's technically Keys because English. But I'm gonna continue to pronounce it as Quays because, god damn it, that's how I've always pronounced it. Anyway, getting back on subject of the 2 Claudes, the GTA 2 Claude actually speaks, and that game has a really vague calendar of taking place either in 2013 or 1998, depending on what the situation is. This game strictly takes place in 2001, and Claude does not speak. But the most important thing that makes the 2 Claudes different is, well, one of them is mute. Can you even imagine what this Claude would sound like if he talked? I'd imagine that Claude would sound a lot like Brock Lesnar, which may seem like a compliment considering it's Brock Lesnar, and that guy's a beast, but have you ever heard Brock Lesnar actually speak out loud? Yeah, not very fitting for a man that size. Moving on to the 3D universe, which most fans, or at least most older fans, are more familiar with. Starting with, chronological wise, Vice City Stories, and ironically ending on this game, GTA 3. I say ironically because GTA 3 is the first game in the series, release date wise. Anyway, what you have to do here is you need to wait for a bunch of Mafia members to come out to the ice cream truck and then hit the red button. I don't think these guys want ice cream, they're just wondering what the damn noise is and suspicious as to why there's an ice cream truck out back. Homemade ice cream is better, by the way. Make sure you collect all the drop weapons and cash before you take off.
Some insolent triad stole my beautiful car last night, wrecked it and left it burning. Some of my most precious donkey memorabilia was in the trunk. Real collectibles that are irreplaceable, my friend. I've hidden a throbbing weapon on the edge of Chinatown. Take it and teach these triad vandals to fear El Burro's well-endowed wrath. Arriba!
Burro is crazy, and trial by fire is kinda tricky. It's essentially a rampage mission. What you gotta do is use a flamethrower to torch, I think 30 or so triads before the time expires. The dangerous thing about using a flamethrower is you can accidentally set yourself on fire if you're not too careful. And most of the enemies here will understandably try to run away from you, because you're using a flamethrower. And also having the flamethrower equipped will slow your run speed down. But there is a way to get around it, you just simply hop. I'm not really a big fan of using flamethrower type weapons in video games because they're either way too short ranged or they just do pitiful damage, like in Contra or something. But I'd say the best flamethrower weapon in my opinion is in Mega Man X, the fire wave you get from Flame Mammoth. It's short range, yes, but it does a lot of damage. The Flame Force from Alien Soldier is also another good weapon, despite it being a short range flamethrower. Kill 25 triads. Oh, it's 25. I thought it was 30. But yeah, you have to be right on top of these guys. Oh, I almost jumped into... Oh, jeez. Almost jumped into the fire. See, that's what happens. You gotta be careful with this. The problem is that Claude stands still whenever he shoots the flamethrower, which is not good. At least strafe, have the option to strafe, which I don't know if they added in the definitive edition. I'm gonna have to assume no. Or maybe they did, I don't know. I haven't played it yet. From this day on, Claude shall be known by his street name, Hotshot. Nah, we'll call him Claude. The algorithm for this mission is weird. Sometimes the triads will not spawn into the map at all, or they'll spawn very, very sparsely, so you have to be essentially lucky. I never mentioned the latest timeline of GTA, did I? Okay, so the HD universe of GTA starts with Grand Theft Auto 4 back in 2008. There's also Chinatown Wars on the Nintendo DS, and Grand Theft Auto 5, which is the latest entry in the series. 8 years and they're still re-releasing the damn game. Holy crap. Those games, or at least Grand Theft Auto 4, has an in-depth story, even more in-depth than any of the older games. And strangely enough, Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 are both easily the darkest and most lighthearted games in the series respectively. GTA 4, where both the endings have the main character lose a loved one, and then you play GTA 5 where it's basically a parody of a parody. I'm not gonna say I dislike GTA 5's story, but it can be a bit overblown at points. Oh shit, let me get out of Chinatown, the triads are pissed. Now, getting out of Chinatown can be a bit rough, especially since every car in New York seems to disappear off the face of the planet. Fuck it, last stand, bitches. Okay, maybe not. Get in that Idaho. We're getting the fuck out of here. Almost got wasted there, that would have been bad. Good thing there's a hospital right down the street. It's the same place I picked up Misty back in part 1. If you lose all of your health, you'll be taken here and you'll lose all of your weapons, as well as some money.
A thieving opportunist has stolen a van of my latest publication hot off the press. But that spanked-up idiot has left the rear doors open, and now my beautifully produced, tastefully photographed adult literature is being dropped all over Liberty. Take the van and follow that trail of Donkey Does Dallas volumes 1, 2, and 3, collecting it as you go. When you follow the trail to that thieving spankhead, waste him. Then deliver my Donkey Derby to XXX Mags in the Red Light District.
Of course this guy would have a porn shop in Red Light District, it just makes too much sense. Anyway, this mission can be a bit tedious if you played the game multiple times. You may know where the location is by heart, but the time limit will never allow you to go straight to that location. You have to follow the trail. Collecting a magazine will add a second to the timer. That's it, just 1 second. And of course, if you run out of time, the trail goes cold for some reason and mission failed. You also need to keep the van intact. If that blows up, that counts as a mission fail. The fog certainly doesn't help this situation. You need your eyes to spot these magazines. They won't show up on the map. The one thing that GTA 3 sorely lacks is an in-game map of the city. I mean, sure, you got a radar type map on the bottom left of the screen, but that's about it. This will become more apparent when we get to missions where you have to drive across the city. You have to memorize each of the island's layouts. Yeah, this is the majority of this mission. We're just picking up magazines trying to track down this guy and kill him. It's not one of the more riveting missions in the game, as triads are trying to shoot me and kill me. Speak of the devil. But it's just okay. It's an okay mission. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. You can actually afford to skip quite a few of these magazines, as long as you pick up the trail again, that is. Don't expect any Superman 64 shenanigans where if you skip past a couple of ranks, oh, I almost called them rings. Well, they do look kind of like rings with that aura. If you skip past any of the magazines, it's mission over. No, that's not the case here. If you have a general understanding of the route, you should be fine. You're just picking up magazines to buy time. I don't know why there are so many magazines strewn across the street like this. I know New York has a littering problem, but come on now, this is just ridiculous. And no, not ridiculous, just ridiculous, as in somebody's an actual dick for doing this. This is the location where the guy's at. You just kill him and you take the van back. Well, that was underwhelming. I don't even think that guy had a weapon. Let me check. Nope, doesn't have a weapon. Shit. Well, at least have a shotgun or something if I'm gonna kill you. Claude's options for traversing the city is limited. You got cars, trains, and boats. That's it. No planes or helicopters. And you gotta be careful with boats too, because as you know, swimming wasn't invented until 1992 by a man named Carl Johnson. In other words, you can't swim in this game. Stay off the sidewalk, you lunatic. People are trying to drive there. Or at least in the world of GTA, people drive on the sidewalks. Here we go, the good old XXX store, which I've never been in a XXX store and I don't want to. And that's that for the telephone missions in Portland. They do come back after a while, but for the sake of LP, I won't be doing those again.
What a ride she's gonna be, huh? Alright, listen. Get some wheels to the safe house at St. Mark's and pick up a few friends of mine. They're hitting the bank and they need a driver. I gave my word that you were the man, so don't screw this up. Get them to the bank before 5 o'clock, not a minute after.
The Getaway is a straightforward get people from point A to B type of mission. You're gonna need a 4-door for this. I grabbed the van because it's one of the sturdier vehicles in the game. Head over to St. Mark's. There you'll be picking up 3 mobsters. The St. Mark's Bistro area will become extremely dangerous later on because that's the point where the mobsters turn on you and they will have shotguns. And if any of those shotguns shoot your car, it's pretty much an instant game over. Instant death. Those shotguns are freaking obnoxious, by the way, but we'll be seeing that later on during a particular mission that I'll be sure to point out.
Get us to the bank on the main drag.
Yeah, that's right, these guys are going to rob a bank, but you'll be the getaway driver. Hence the name of the mission, Getaway Driver, or just the Getaway. You don't get to rob banks or convenience stores in this game. That isn't until Vice City.
Keep the engine running. We'll be in and out in no time. Get us out of here.
3 stars, this is nothing to worry about. In fact, you can get rid of one of your stars by going through this alley. And the pay and spray is going to be right down the street, so as long as there are no cops in your way, you should be good. Still can't believe the cops fall for the old okie doke like that. The car's the same make and model, but it's a different color. It's obviously not the same guy, let's just move along. It's a special case. The newer games will update the cops to where you cannot go into the pay and spray if they're actively looking at the pay and spray. Alright, mission passed, and that's that for Joey's missions. Tune in for part 4 where I take on Tony Cipriani's missions.